There's something about waking up every day to know that there's that small group of people that you can actually talk to, bounce ideas with, talk about deals that worked, what didn't work. There's something about that drives you all to actually get out and do the work.
Right, because you're going, it's not just me, because you can easily get in your head when you're alone, right?
Exactly.
Going, oh, geez, and you start ruminating on one problem too long and then, like, it's just... having a group around you is so much better, especially if other like-minded agents who are all looking to succeed. Because maybe some days you're a little down, but if you're around people who are always up, then they're going to bring you up. And it's like, so it's the same thing. And I say it over and over, but the high tide raises all ships, and it's so true. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited for today's podcast with Kendi Mworia.
Yes.
And Kendi's been in real estate for 4 years, and I've had the pleasure of partnering with her at eXp, and her and I have been working together, and she is absolutely amazing when it comes to client care and also giving back to the community. You're so involved with the community. When I was coming to your Christmas event where you had Santa Claus and all the kids, and just seeing like the impact that had and the turnout was so incredible, Kendi. So I'm super excited to get into this podcast to talk about everything from your story to how you've been super successful in real estate, and just to have a really cool conversation here. So I just want to thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Brad, and I appreciate it. And I'm happy to be here to talk to you. I mean, we're always talking, but this is good.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
So I guess to start off, maybe let's start with your story, Kendi. Kind of what got you into real estate, and even if you want to go back a little bit before that.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, for me, actually, real estate is something I was doing for myself even before I became a realtor.
Okay.
So I liked looking at houses, investing in properties. I always had a passion for that. So even when I lived in Ontario before I moved to New Brunswick, so I always had a passion for real estate. Okay. And I understood owning a home, investment properties, but then obviously when I lived in Ontario, I wasn't a realtor at that time. I used to work in the life and health insurance. I'm actually a broker. I am a life and health insurance broker as well. Yeah, so that's kind of the profession I was in for a long time. But when I moved to New Brunswick, I decided to become a realtor because I wanted to first actually invest for myself and then also be able to help other people. But the motivation was more, I was looking into, I want to do more investments in New Brunswick. And then I was like, I should actually get my license. So that's how it actually started.
That's so funny. Yeah, and I think a lot of people start off like that, right? They have the passion for it. And I know so many people that are checking realtor.ca and so interested in real estate because it's something that affects everybody. We're all looking for a nice house, and it's kind of something that people are checking to see what's the equity of my home right now and where's the market going, and it's always evolving too. But it's very interesting that you came from the insurance world and then into real estate, because you were already dealing with people on a kind of advisory client level
and sales.
And
so
sales, right?
Actually,
exactly.
I did not have to learn how to do sales. I actually knew how to do sales, but obviously I needed to learn how to do it in real estate and all the other nuances that come with the regulations and in being a realtor and everything. But sales was where I was, so it wasn't hard for me to transition into sales as a realtor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long were you in the health insurance broker
industry?
world?
I've been licensed for over 17 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
17 years.
Yeah.
And that was all in Ontario.
All in Ontario.
Okay.
Yes.
Where were you in Ontario?
I lived in Whitby, Ontario.
Whitby. Okay.
Yeah.
How far is that from Toronto?
So it's we're like maybe 20 minutes away. It's on the east side.
On the east side, so a little bit. Okay,
yeah,
so,
like going
so that if we're driving to Toronto, then we'd kind of pass Whitby first. Then.
Yeah, but I lived in different parts of Toronto. Like I lived in the west side. I lived in the kind of Scarborough area. Like I lived in many different places.
Wow.
You know?
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, my journey, like when I came to Toronto first, I used to live in the U.S. by the way before I moved to Toronto.
Okay. Where in the U.S.?
Indiana and Michigan. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
How long were you there for?
I know.
Like, I know. Okay. Indiana.
Indiana and Michigan.
Yep. And then
Michigan.
And how long was that?
So I lived there for almost 7 to 8 years before.
Wow.
Yeah. I came to the US when I was a teenager.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were a teenager. How old?
21, 22.
Wow.
Yeah, 22.
So 21, 22. What a fascinating time. And that's when you came to the US, you said?
Yes.
What a fascinating time to come to the US. And so then you grew up in
Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah. East Africa. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then that was your entire childhood, teenage, and early adult was in Kenya, and then you came to the US. Was that a shock? Was it very different? Was it?
Well, not really. So really, I have lived here in North America now over half my life. I've lived more here than I've lived in Kenya.
Now?
Yeah.
But not then.
Yeah, but you see what I mean?
Right. So then, I'm just trying to. Yeah, that'd be some interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I came, that's those days. That's 1998. Like, we were really like it was the typical like immigrant dream, like going to the US for greener pastures, like making a better life. And actually it did feel that way, and it was that way, you know.
That's
but
awesome.
we actually we loved like working hard and trying to go to school at the same time. I did like 2-3 jobs trying to go to school at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, the typical immigrant story.
Absolutely.
I am actually that story.
Yeah, coming over and working hard and absolutely. It's so then you came over, was it your entire family?
No, just me.
Just you? Wow.
Just me.
Wow, Kendi. Is that ever fascinating?
Me. Yeah. So
then what was your first job?
Oh my God, I worked in the factory. So I used to make like auto car parts,
cool.
like handles, like it used to be, so there was so many, that's when the auto industry
What vehicles or what company was it for?
It was called Key Plastics or something like that.
Okay.
So we used to be in the factory like for 8 hours, 12 hours, like on shift and, you know. So I worked in a factory and I also worked in healthcare. So I used to be like a PSW, going to homes, taking care of clients and things like that. And then going to school at the same time, you know.
Wow.
And it was fun and we managed, never complained.
Right.
Like it was like, this is the life we gotta, you know. So like when I hear people like nowadays talking about immigrants and like there's this narrative like immigrants are coming over and taking our jobs and things like that, that wasn't the immigrant story. Actually, immigrants have built this nations, you know, and most people are immigrants anyway, even those who've been here for all their lives.
Right, unless you're Native American to this land, right?
I know, right?
Yeah,
so it's really, I feel bad nowadays when immigrants are talked off as if they are an inconvenience and like they're coming to take over something. But at the same time, I understand that we kind of like overpopulated and immigration happened maybe so quick. Like let's say even in New Brunswick, like with people moving too quickly at the same time, and maybe we don't have the resources like
the infrastructure,
housing and what have you. So a
lot of that was even interprovincial immigration too. A lot of that was people coming from Ontario, and a lot of that was And I mean, it's all, because see, that's all kind of government regulation and stuff too, right?
Yeah. So I do understand that concept of people feeling like there's kind of like too much.
Yeah.
But it's true, we might have to cut down a bit and actually make sure we have the housing, we have the hospital that can handle, the roads are good. Like the population can not just boom all at once when you don't have the resources for it. But at the same time, we shouldn't look at immigrants as if they are like an inconvenience.
Absolutely.
But actually, they're the ones who have built the economy.
And anytime you put a blanket statement on anything saying, immigrants are X or anything, it's like that. Well, it's never true for everybody, right? Because there's just like anything. It's like saying police officers are bad. And it's like, well, no, there might be some bad actors in every single group, but that's society. That's humans in general, right? So you can't have blanket statements for things like that, I don't think.
So true. And, another thing I've learned, Brandon, is there's a difference between how immigrants approach working versus and I'm talking this coming from a point where I have my own children who are born here, actually mine were born in the US, but who are North American born, so when I look at, let's say my son who goes to university in Tallahassee, and I'm like, okay, you need to get a part-time job, then you'll be like, oh, I went to McDonald's, I applied, nobody called me. I went to Tim Hortons, I applied, nobody called me, so, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, actually there's a problem. How come my child can't even get a part-time job while he's going to university? You know what I mean? But the thing is, and I kept telling him this too, and I'm like, you have to have more of a passion to get the work.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You need to show some enthusiasm.
And there's a passion that immigrants have for going to these jobs, committing to being at work, committing to their work hours. They're not thinking about going to play the video games and like sitting behind their computer. No. They're thinking about going to work.
Absolutely.
And if you're the employer...
Because that's part of the culture too, right? It's part of the culture. Yeah. Like I think us in the Western world, like it's very much, people like want to retire at a certain age. Like I can't wait to retire. But like most cultures don't even retire.
Exactly.
They'll all live in the same household and the family works and they pass stuff down through the generations. But like here in the Western world, we're very like individual, going like, we need to move out early and we need to get set up on our own, and kind of like the family's kind of like separated a little bit and kind of more distant and stuff. So there's that kind of difference, I think, in just your mindset when you're growing up, and then in the culture as well too, I find.
And the work ethics of when they go to work is, are you actually missing work? Are you committed to working? And are you going to meet your hours, Or, so the thing is, there's a culture here of the kids nowadays not actually committing too much to going to work.
Yeah. See, I have a little brother and sister too. So my brother, he's about 16, and then my sister's about 20. Both of them have, they have jobs, but I know that they've kind of been sending resumes out and stuff. And I remember when I was 16, the only way that I got a job was when I went into the establishment and I had a resume and I was like, I'm not leaving until I hand this to the manager or the owner. I'm not leaving until I can talk to somebody. I'm not just dropping it off. Yes. And anytime that I ever just sent one versus like on an email, via email, I never got a response. The only jobs I ever got was when I showed up and I showed my enthusiasm for how much I wanted that position.
Exactly.
That was the only time that I ever got jobs. But I made sure that it happened all the time because I was just fairly relentless on anything that I did want. And it was the same way that I became a commercial diver. I went in and I went right into the dive shack and I talked to the manager there, and I was like, I'm looking to work. And I mean, it was me handing the resume, and then I think they brought me upstairs. And then when I was 14 years old on the Vine, I went in. Here's a really funny story. I was 14 years old going into a grocery store, and it was about 10 minutes from my high school because I didn't have a driver's license then, right? So I was going to high school, but I could walk to work afterwards. So, and if I really had to, I could walk home too, because home was only like 25, 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
And I remember going in there, 14 years old, and I brought my resume, and they were looking at me like, is this kid even old enough to work? Is he even like strong enough to pick up like 50 pounds? And actually, so the manager, she goes, can you lift 50 pounds?
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I could, Kendi. I had no idea. Yeah. But I just looked at her and I was like, absolutely. And she's like, show me.
Okay.
So then we go to the front of the store where everybody's pretty well there, like at the cashier and stuff. So like, I didn't know, like everybody's watching almost. So then I grab this 50-pound bag of potatoes and I throw it around my neck like a scarf. I'm just like, and then I got hired right there. But that's how I got my first job, right? I had to go through the trial.
You proved yourself.
And I had to.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have got it if I just sent a resume. And they were like, this 14-year-old. And then I remember my manager asked me, she goes, why do you want a job? Yeah. And I was like, because I want to buy an Xbox. And she laughed because it's like, you know, your first pay, you can do that.
Yeah.
Then what? Are we going to lose you? But I stayed there for 4 years.
Good. You see? That was good.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Hard work pays off. It does pay off.
Even from 14 years old, I was going to high school. And then I did On the Vine after school. And then I joined the military at 16.
I know.
So then I was doing the military on the weekends. Yeah. I was doing On the Vine after school and then going to high school. So I was literally going 7 days a week for the majority of my teenage years. And it's like that set the standard of kind of like, this is the cadence of how I'm going to work. It's just kind of like, there's not much idle time.
Exactly.
And any idle time is where I found trouble.
Yes. And I think like it also goes back to actually studying from home and giving kids responsibilities, which is like they can do chores around the house, be able to know they have responsibilities, but it's not about like kids just going through life and not realizing that, when they go to that job, this and this is expected. You know, like at home, they can't even do dishes. They can't clean their rooms. They can, you know what I mean? And then now you getting them to the workplace and they're like, this is too much. I can't deal with this. You know what I mean? So the mental aspect of how we train kids to actually look at work is actually a big piece.
And take a responsibility on and even the feeling of being rewarded for your efforts, I think, is important to show them too. Yeah. Like I remember my sister, she wanted a pair of sneakers. She's like, Brandon, like I want this pair of sneakers. And this was when she was younger. Yeah. She wanted like those sneakers with the wheels on them.
Okay, go.
And I was like, well, I don't want to just buy them for her because that's not teaching her anything. So I bought a Rubik's Cube and I messed it up. And I said, if you figure this out, then I'll buy the sneakers. Yeah. So it's like, kind of work for it a little bit, right? Figure something out, like earn it.
Exactly.
So you know, she found an app that told her how to fix the Rubik's Cube. But I'm like, well, you still solved the problem. Yes. And you should still get rewarded for solving the problem. It's not exactly what I thought, but but she found a solution. So it's like, you know, I think just setting those types of standards is important.
It's important, and also like just like back to real estate when we're talking about this, which is the same for us. Like when I became a realtor, I did not become a realtor with expectation that I'm just gonna succeed right away. Yeah. Being in sales, I already knew that I have to put the work, the effort. But sometimes people come into real estate also thinking that it's the 9-to-5 job that's going to give you your every 2 weeks paycheck. No. And it's not. Not at all. You actually have to maybe put in like 6 months worth of work before you actually see a reward. You have to plant the seed. Some will come through, others may not, you know. And if you came with the wrong mentality, then you get frustrated.
You get frustrated quick because you can easily start looking at everybody going, how are they all getting this business? And where's mine? I'm a licensed realtor. I made a Facebook post. I knocked on a couple doors. I called 5 people. Where's my business? Right? And you can easily get upset and go, why is it not working for me? Yes. But that's a trap that you get into. And you can start looking at people closing deals, and especially around your brokerage, if everybody's closing, but you don't have much going on, then you can kind of like go, geez, I could really use that right now. And then it's the wrong mindset from the beginning, right?
It is.
Because what you should be doing, instead of focusing on all the things you're not getting, is focusing on how you can help your future clients.
Exactly.
How can I do something right now, even though I might not know very much starting off? What's the value that I could give? Maybe I can share some market stats. Maybe I could just call some people and let them know I'm a real estate agent and see if there's anything I can do to help. Maybe there's people that want to see some homes. I can help some colleagues of mine with an open house so that I get some more exposure, so I can get some more experience that then's going to make me a better realtor.
Exactly. And, actually, there's a lot of people, like when you meet people, I don't know whether this happens to you too, and people want to join real estate too because they kind of see what you're doing and they're kind of thinking, oh, this is nice, this is cool, you're really doing well, or, and they'll be like, oh, I didn't want to be a realtor too. And to be honest with you, I've discouraged people living in the past because I'm like, okay, what is your expectation, And then they'll just tell you like, oh, I'm like, are you expecting it to be like a 9 to 5 where you're going to get a check every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, it's not like that. And I'm like, no, it's not like that.
No.
And there's a lot of expenses that come with it too, So you almost have to have another source of income
starting off
for you
or
to
have something saved up
for you to get into it. And I discourage people and they're like, oh, it's not like that. I'm like, I don't want you getting into it with the wrong mentality, because if you do, you're gonna get frustrated.
Anybody that thinks it's easy, I don't think is gonna do well, because it's honestly not. It's not easy. And a lot of people can see the Facebook posts that we share, maybe some stories, like us having fun, because that's what we share. We share when we're having fun, but we're not sharing when it's very stressful and we're on a negotiation and there's an appraisal that came in under, or the client's not able to get financing. We got to scramble last minute to find a solution, or there's an issue with the home inspection.
Or the clients that you lost, maybe you went with another realtor. You've been working with them for like whatever, 6 months.
People aren't sharing that, but that's all stuff that happens in the background that we're bearing ourselves to solve these problems to get to the result where we share the sold sign, right? Where we share the sold post, the closing, and we're sharing that little dance and how happy we are, because it was so much work to get there. But that's what people see. They see the end product, but they don't see the 3 months where you were starting off and you had no business and you really didn't know what was going on. And there's and that's why it's like, I'm so glad to be around the group that we're around, because at least it's, people are collaborative enough that when new agents join, we're willing to help them.
Exactly.
And nobody's keeping things and cards close to their chest. It's going, here's what you should be doing. And it's speeding up the learning curve, I think, for a lot of people.
It is. And, like for me, when I joined eXp, and I'm so grateful that I joined eXp, because one, there's something about the traditional brokerage that keeps you busy thinking you're working.
Yeah.
And you meeting people in the office and actually feeling like, oh yeah, I'm getting somewhere. Actually, maybe you haven't actually done anything that actually is necessary for you to get results. But because you're waking up and saying, oh, I'm going to the office, you kind of have that false feeling of I worked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I learned that very early on. So my grandfather helped me get into business, right? Gary Vincent. He was the reason I got into real estate, because I never thought myself as a real estate agent. But I remember when I first got my real estate license, I was going in to meet him every single day, and I'd go into where his office was, because I thought, that's what I'm supposed to do. I was used to kind of showing up. I had to show up somewhere. I was literally showing up with work boots on. But I remember walking in the office, I think it was about a week in, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm kind of on the computer and I'm going, "Oh, I'm just working." And he goes, "Oh, you're working, are you?" And I went, "Well, yeah, I just wanted to come to the office, and he's going, "Okay." And he looked left and right and he went, "Well, I don't see any clients in here." And I went, "No, me neither."
I know.
And then he went, "Well, then you better get out of here.
See?
You're not going to get any business in here." So it's like, I learned very early on, like going to the office, there's no benefit. You need to go to where the clients are. The clients aren't in the office. We need to go out to the public. We need to be out talking to people.
I know. I have one of my friends, a realtor. She's like, "You're always on the road," and I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm trying to. This is where clients are on the road."
And a successful real estate agent is. They're not in the office, and if they are, they're in very quick. They walk in and they walk out.
Exactly.
They're just going in to print off 17 offers and then they leave.
Exactly. And the other thing I learned, I think it was Mike Sherrard in one of the workshops, and he said something about, you're not going to achieve your goals, you're going to achieve your standards.
Your standards, that's right. You don't
right?
You don't rise to your goals. You
you rise to your standards, right?
Yes.
So, and what that really means is, you know, like the way we say, let's say the way we keep talking, like, oh, we want to be healthy, we want to do healthy things. The thing is, maybe losing weight and what have you is your goal, but the standards is, what are you eating?
Yep.
Like, are you
exercising? Yes.
You know what I mean? So those are the standards. So you have to kind of ask yourself what the standard is, but not what the goal is. Because once you know your standards and actually you start meeting the standards and saying, I got to meet the standards, then that is what achieving the goal is.
And that's how you get to the goal. Exactly. The goal is a destination and the standards are how you're going to get to the goal. Exactly.
Right?
It's very, very true.
Yeah.
And that's something that we talk about a lot is setting standards. And that's one reason that I've honestly loved the Wolfpack, Kendi. Like that was something I noticed when I came over from my previous brokerage. That was a brick and mortar brokerage, and coming over to eXp with Mike Sherrard, because I realized somebody was so disciplined with very high standards, and I'm going, these are the people that I want to surround myself with, because when you're around certain people, you become what that group is like. So if you're around a bunch of agents who are maybe talking about the market being slow, or they're saying that business is hard to get, well, that's going to become your mindset, because that's what you're hearing all the time. When you're around a whole bunch of agents who are constantly succeeding, who are talking about all of the success they have and talking about how they're getting it, and they're fired up and they're energetic, well, that's how you then become as well, because you become the people that you're around, right? So it's like now surrounding ourselves with people with a proper mindset, and that's something too that I think a lot of real estate agents don't talk enough about, is the mindset that you need to have for this business. And it goes back to what you said at first, where you can easily get distracted with what everybody else is doing.
Yes.
And if you don't have the mindset of, I need to focus on my business and I need to focus on taking care of my clients and finding a way to give them value, once you kind of switch the mindset of, I need business to, I need to help people, that's when you start getting the business.
Exactly.
Because the more people that you help, the more value that you're giving, the more chances they're going to want to work with you.
Exactly.
But if you're just saying, hey, work with me because I need the business, like, well, no.
Exactly. And, you know, like what you're saying is so true, because, you know, what I've come to realize is my clientele that I've built over time is not people, it's not a transactional business whereby I found you a house, you closed and we're done. I find that I have done way above and beyond my real estate duties, you know what I mean, in terms of like maintaining and building that relationship with them. And the thing is, that is exactly how you build your business. You have to show up for your clients, not for the transaction, beyond the transaction. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And once that becomes your lifestyle and you actually are comfortable doing it without feeling like someone is wasting your time, or, you know, then you realize that that actually becomes something you enjoy to do, and it becomes part of the business. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you
it's like watering the garden, right? It's, you know, it's if you plant the seeds but you don't water the garden, then those fruits aren't going to grow.
Exactly, you know? Because those are the clients who are going to refer the next client to you. Just because they were really happy with how you deal with them, they realize that you're going beyond the transaction. You know what I mean? I've helped people do like put up blinds. I help them do minor renovations, not me doing it, but with you know, Dawn, my partner, does home renovations, right?
Yes.
And then I'll just offer them the service that makes their life easier without feeling like it's taking too much of my time. But I know I'm building a relationship with them, and I want them to be happy with my service beyond selling the house.
And that goes such a long way, because then they're going to tell their friends, their family about that extra mile that you went. So, and then anytime they're talking about buying or selling, they're going to go, you need to call Kendi because she did X, Y, and Z after.
Yeah.
And it's those little things that people talk about, right? So it's, you know, it's a big push to get them to the finish line, but it's all the stuff that we do afterwards. It's all the little touches that we do. And you know, like it's
value.
It's just keeping that relationship with them and finding a way exactly to stay in touch and to drop, you know, if you're even just popping by every once in a while, see how they're doing, send them a text, checking up, and just anything. anything, right?
Exactly. And also just being like a human being, because sometimes you meet people and you realize people have, beyond even wanting to buy a house or sell a house, they might have problems or other things that they're dealing with in their lives. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
And then you realize that sometimes you have to be that support system.
Yep.
For them,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, right? To a certain extent, you know.
Yeah.
So just being a human being and being knowing that people first, even it's not even about money sometimes, you know, like sometimes people maybe feel like, oh, when you're doing business, oh, it's about making the money. But for me, I actually look at it first is about people. And the relationships 100%. You build, 100%. And then money is just
it's a byproduct.
Of that. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. So I'm not like motivated by like the money first. I'm motivated to build the relationship and actually have my clients feel a certain way about how I'm relating with them, you
Absolutely.
know? Yeah. So
absolutely.
You know.
So I think that's kind of a great segue to how you've been growing your business over the last 4 years. So a lot of that, and I'm seeing it from afar too. You do a lot of community events.
I do.
A lot of, you know, the extremely valuable client care, even during and after the transactions, and it's just kind of keeping those relationships. Is there anything else that you find has worked very well for you? Any other anything else that's like been a major game changer, I guess, in your
doing
career?
Business,
yeah.
Right? Well, like when you talk about community events, like I, like one within St. John, obviously, I try to involve my clients and other people within the community, especially about like maybe feeding the homeless or giving meals at the shelter. And the thing is, we have the time, like as realtors, because we're in a business. It's not like we have a 9-to-5 job where you're saying I have to be at the office,
right.
But I'm able to do those things because I'm flexible.
Yeah.
But when in the past, when I work, say, my 9-to-5 job, there's sometimes you want to be able to make a meal and maybe go feed people in a shelter, but you really may not even have the time because you're also at work. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel that I can give back to the community in small ways with the time that I have.
Absolutely.
Because I plan my own time. So one, like feeding people within the community and maybe involving some of my clients in saying, would you like to do this together? You know what I mean? So that's one, like basically building a community and being able to do business in that community, you know, but actually looking at the community as a very important place that you need to see people happy, thriving, and even those who are needy being able to be served, you know. So for me, that's that too. And obviously, like I attribute more of my how I do business and my success to just having like I know people don't like to talk about religious stuff and what have you as such in public and things like
That's
that
okay,
because it's but I'm more of a spiritual person and I just believe like in the power of God and actually just looking for that guidance because I find that if you're not like in a good state of mind whereby you yourself are joyful or complete in your own self, then you're not able to serve other people as well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I just like to ground myself in a community and my local church that I go to, True Life Church anyway.
Okay.
But I like to just be more intentional. In my spiritual life. And because we all have problems and we all have things in life that we have to deal with.
Absolutely.
But you almost have to be intentional in just how you approach your own life to actually be able to be even a blessing to somebody else's life.
That's very powerful. That's very powerful. And it makes me think of how important our energy is when we're interacting with our clients. And that was something I learned fairly early on too, is making sure that when, just like you said, when we're going out to work with our clients, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if our energy is wrong, then it's so hard to serve people properly when we're not good, right? So we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, and whatever that looks like, whether that's for some people going to church, even if it's like a certain type of exercise, or even just taking the dog out for a walk, reading a book in the morning, certain rituals that are going to set your energy right so that you can go through the day, and even finding different ways to reset your energy too. Because sometimes as your day's going, you can kind of snowball, and if it's a great day, then you might have some great energy, but if things aren't going good, maybe you had one or two appointments, or maybe a phone call that was stressful or something, because that happens. And then it's like you need to find a way to not make sure that you're bringing that to the next appointment, right? You have to shake it off quick. So finding good ways to reset, whatever that is, right?
Yes.
But even the spirituality portion, I'm very glad you mentioned that, because that's been something that I've been looking, kind of seeking over the last probably a year, really, but just recently kind of getting some structure with it, and started going to church on Sundays, and finding that community and just kind of filling the spiritual hole, because because we're such complex beings. We're physical beings, we're spiritual beings. We need a certain social dynamic. We need to make sure that our mental is good. So there's all these different aspects, and in order for us to be the best version and show up every day properly for everybody, we have to make sure that we're keeping all those things in check, and that we're taking care of ourselves. And that's actually why I love this business, is because in order to get better at this business, we need to become better ourselves.
Exactly.
It's like a self-development business.
It is.
And almost any business is, right? Anytime you're in a position of dealing with public or even running a business, it's not an easy thing. So the better that we can be, the better that we show up for everybody.
What church you go to now? What church you said you started going to?
Kings.
Okay.
Started going to Kings.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And honestly, the reason is because I've talked to a lot of people who have recommended me to go there.
Yeah.
And I'm going, when you hear something so many times from other sources, I just took it as a message.
Nice.
I just took it as a message, something guiding me there. Because I heard it for probably the last year from many different people who had never communicated, and it's not like it was planned.
Yeah, I know.
It was, a certain guy at the gym, a couple people I had on the podcast. Some people in the Wolfpack in our group.
So, interesting. When I first moved to New Brunswick, which one thing for me, obviously I always went to church in the past, but then I had a list of churches that I was going to try out and then see where I'm going to go, right? And Kings was one on my list, and then True Life was on my list. So what happened is I went to True Life Church first, and then when I went there, everybody was so welcoming and what have you. Then I really did not get a chance to try another one. So I just stayed there, right?
Absolutely,
and then now I also have a lot of friends who actually go to Kings too. And then also my son, my 12-year-old son, because they have youth at True Life, and he wanted to start going to youth at Kings too. So now I do both. I have to go to True Life for youth on Wednesday night, and then I have to take him to Kings on Monday night, because he has a lot of friends who go to Kings too. And then he kept saying, Mom, I want to go to youth at Kings. I want to go to youth at Kings. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do both. So I do take him there for the youth on Monday night, and then I do my True Life on Wednesday night. But then the point is, the thing is about building that community and having that, being around people who uplift each other in a certain way. And by the way, Brandon, real estate can be a very lonely place to be.
100%, yeah.
And people don't tell you that when you actually on social media and you're posting, doing your post, people are like, oh, wow. But they actually don't even know that you've gone through all these 3-4 months. You don't even have a sale. You've shown a client. There are no deals coming through. It can be a lonely place to be.
Absolutely.
So having our group at eXp, the fact that we are able to collaborate, be able to actually talk to each other. When you wake up and you know that, I'm going to be able to talk to my fellow realtors. We're going to collaborate together. It keeps you going.
Absolutely. And that's something I've realized over the last few years being at the Wolfpack is it's so much more enjoyable to do this business with like-minded agents around you that you're all going together instead of investing all my energy into me and then just going, I'm going to try to do the best I can and do it alone. That is so lonely, because when I was at my previous brokerage, I was closing deals. I was doing all the things that I thought was making me successful, but I was going, I'm not feeling it though. I'm not feeling,
right?
I actually feel almost more empty than when I started.
Right.
And it's like, well, why is that?
Yeah.
And it was because I was missing the culture. And also coming from the military, my version of kind of camaraderie is so ingrained in me because the individual was almost beat out of me. In the military, if you finish something before all of your peers, you actually, and then you just kind of stood there, it's like, no, you're not getting a congratulations. That's not an attaboy. That's you failed because you should have been helping your team.
You see?
If everybody doesn't make it, nobody made it.
Exactly.
Everybody needs to get there, right? So it's like, so that was ingrained in my mind for such a long time. So then coming into real estate where it was so individual, I was going, why am I feeling a little bit depressed? Why am I not enjoying it? And then coming over here, I'm going, it's such a different experience.
Exactly.
Because it's like, you know, although we all run our own business, we're all collaborating together on a daily basis in a group chat, finding ways that we can lift each other up, finding ways that we can bring some value even to the community, to calls. And it's just like, it's such a different energy. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand when they see us from the outside. They don't actually understand what's going on in the group.
Exactly. I've been so happy being at eXp, to be honest. And it's just, I look forward to like meeting and talking to as a group, you know what I mean? Like it's enjoyable. And obviously with the understanding that we are each in their own business.
Yeah.
So we're not like competing against each other, but we are actually helping each other the best way possible we can, but without expectation of somebody is going to do something for you. Because, you know, there's something about when you go to the brokerages locally and then you're looking at all these people, maybe you've been in the business for over 20 something years or whatever number of years, and you're new, then you're feeling intimidated. And then you're thinking, oh my God, like they're not even seeing me, and nobody is even trying to like help me because they're doing their own thing, and they're thinking, you know, like you came into the business. I hope you know what you're doing. So you kind of feel like lost.
Absolutely.
And feel like you know, the lost child.
Well, right, and then you almost get defensive too, right? You almost, because it's like, hey, if everybody's protecting their food, nobody's sharing, then you're doing the same thing with your information and all the things you're learning, but you're kind of, but it's like a high tide raises all ships, right?
You see what I mean?
So it's like we can all actually learn faster when we all share with each other, right? And it's, you know, it's the same as like any research group. If you're trying to figure out as much, like if you're trying to get a group together to solve a problem and you have 15 people all researching by themselves, it's going to take so much longer than if there was 15 people all sharing the information together. You'll learn way faster. You're going to get to the end. You're going to find that result much faster, so we can all teach each other faster. So it's not just a benefit even for, like, it's a benefit for everybody.
Exactly. And like with information sharing, like you said, like sometimes I used to feel like that when you're in the local brokerage, you feel like the information sharing is selective. Meaning selective. That you like when you're trying to get something and help from someone, it's like, oh well, I can't help you with all that. But then when you hear that they help somebody else and you're thinking, okay, how come I didn't get that information, right? That then when you here at eXp, because we enjoy being around each other and we know that we are in individual businesses and we understand that, there's that feeling of you're like my brother and my sister. And, you know, I'm going to help you with something. If you have a question, I'm going to genuinely give you the information you need to make you successful in your ways. You know what I mean? So that feeling and building that trust and loyalty goes a long way.
It goes a very long way. And I mean, especially when we have the opportunity to bring other agents in, and if they succeed, that's good for us as well. So it's like, the last thing that I would ever want is to encourage somebody to come over here, but then have them fail, because it's like, well, that's not going to be good for anybody. That's not good for us. That's not good for that agent. It's like let's all do well. Like I get excited when new agents come in and then they're like, hey man, I got a question, and then you know they're talking about the first deal they have and how the negotiation's going or something, and it's like I'm excited to help them because it also throws me back to when I first started, and then it makes me think a little bit of how far I've come, but then also too, and it just keeps us sharper by being able to help too, because the way that you learn the best is by teaching. So then if we can help other agents and teach them, then that's actually increasing our knowledge base as well.
Do you know why helping other agents is natural and a successful process at eXp? The reason is because when you bring someone in, like you said, what happens is I feel responsible for your success.
Right.
And then also, let's not forget that eXp rewards the people who brought somebody in.
Absolutely.
By saying, okay, this person did so well, let's share the profits as a company.
Absolutely.
Oh, Brandon did so well, Kendi did so well, so-and-so did so well. They have the profits that they're sharing. So
they built a business model that encourages collaboration.
Exactly.
Yes, through the revenue share.
Exactly.
And it's so true, because if you bring an agent in and they're not succeeding, well, then there's no extra revenue share. But if they do succeed, so it's actually good for you. So you are incentivized. And they have another way of encouraging it too, is through their icon program. So when agents hit their icon status, they get half of their cap back instantly in company stock. And then there's two things they have to do. They have to go to one of the company events. So they have to go to like an eXp con. And then they have to teach a lesson in the eXp world of how they succeeded. So then that encourages everybody to share what they're currently doing. So it actually provides, as a brokerage, it provides a platform for agents to learn from current successful agents doing it in different marketplaces and succeeding in the current market.
And you know what blows my mind is just the fact, like the icon situation, about thinking that when you actually become an icon, you get all the money you paid into eXp
back in company stock.
You get it back. I mean, it blows my mind, and like I can't wait the day I'll ever get to icon, because I'm like, this is like the coolest thing.
And then at that point, the brokerage is actually paying you to be there.
I know.
And that's why I'm like, there's so many agents around St. John that I know. I'm like, you'd be an icon agent, like, your first year coming over. And I think it's just a matter of time, honestly, Kendi. I think eXp has a lot of momentum. I think it's just a matter of us getting better at presenting the model, us getting better at educating people on it. And, that's a big reason that I love doing these podcasts. And it's also a big reason why I love getting our group together, because it's like, there's real power in that.
There is.
And I think it's becoming undeniable at this point locally.
It is.
It's becoming undeniable, because it's like, if it was something that wasn't working, we would not be growing.
We would not. And, when I became a realtor, because I'm a logical person. I'm a very logical person. So things have to make sense. Yeah. And when I was thinking about which brokerage to go to, I actually wanted to join eXp initially. But 4 years ago, we did not have the kind of group and collaboration in New Brunswick that we have now.
No, there was only a couple agents.
Exactly. But when I looked at the numbers then, and I'm thinking, where am I going to be better off in terms of commission and the structure, I knew eXp model was the best. One, because I was coming from insurance industry where I understood the bringing people in.
Yes.
So I knew the model, and I kind of knew it's actually a model that makes sense. But I was afraid that I did not have the support or the group of people who I can, like to you, like, hey, Brandon, can you help me with this? And I'm thinking, I'm not going to be on some cloud trying to figure things out. You know what I mean? So that's what made me not join eXp. But then guess what? When I joined eXp and I realized how easy the cloud is and how you can walk into anybody's office, like in the eXp world.
Absolutely,
and there's somebody there talking to you every minute with a question. You have tech support. I was like, what was I doing all this time?
And
I should have joined.
It's all instant support, too.
It is.
That's the thing a lot of people don't realize, is that you can get instant support. So at my previous brokerage, when I wanted tech support, we had to book it with the tech guru at the brokerage. And he would send us a calendar. And then I would look at the calendar. I'm like, okay, this time works for me. And it was like a week or two out. And it's like, well, now that's taken 2 weeks to get an answer. And it's like, well, that's 2 weeks of lost ground. That's not efficient, right?
Exactly.
At eXp, you can hop into the world. You can literally get an answer on just about anything. Like how fast things happened here at this brokerage. I think people underestimate how valuable that is, because at the end of the day, our time is the most important thing, and our time should be spent on serving our clients, and not on this kind of like waiting for like an answer from your tech support at a broker or something, right?
And we haven't talked about like our transaction desk. Like, I was blown out of my mind like the first time I ever submitted a deal, and instantly you just get a message saying, okay, this is good, I need this. Like, it's so smooth sailing.
Right.
The transaction desk is
green,
like,
it's confirmed, or it's yellow, needs an adjustment, or... Right.
Exactly. Yep. And I was like, wow, this is easy. And then you get your pay. Once you close a deal, you get your pay the next day.
Yeah. That's something that is wild. So, and it's funny because I've been at eXp for 4 years now, and every time I go to a conference, they've always announced these new things that they're doing for the agents. So it's like every year they're finding more ways to be more agent-centric. Yeah. So I remember being at the conference, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but when they announced the pay within 24 hours, which is huge. So pretty well the brokerage has said that as long as all your paperwork is filled out, all your forms are done, and the deal's closed officially, we will pay you. And pretty well, so they're taking the brunt of that expense until they get the commission from the lawyers, which sometimes can take weeks. And I didn't realize that when I first got into real estate. It was 3 months till I closed my first deal, and then I closed it, and I was like, okay, I need that commission like yesterday. I need that commission 2 weeks ago. I need it now. Like, I needed it, right? And then I'm going, okay, I closed the deal. Where's my money? And they're like, oh, you got to wait for the lawyer to cut the check. And I'm going, well, wait, what? I have to wait for what? And then it's like, then you take it to the brokerage, and then you got to wait to get paid. And you're just kind of sitting there in limbo. Maybe a week or two goes by, and it's like,
I know.
I got bills to pay, ladies and gentlemen.
And then you come to eXp, then you get an email asking you, has the client received the key? Has this transaction closed?
Yep.
And you're like, please confirm, yes, your check is sent. You're like, okay.
Right. And that's what I love about eXp. It's such an agent-centric brokerage. They care about the agents.
They do.
So much, because they realize it's the agents that grow the business.
Exactly.
And if we can empower our agents to have more resources, to have more availability to make income, to have more success, then that's going to make them better agents. And then that's going to help our brokerage grow. They're not clawing back when a lot of brokerages are. eXp's smart. They are super, super smart, because they got into the cloud early. Yes. They got into the virtual worlds very, very early.
No.
And it's just so cool to be at a brokerage that aligns with my values of being forward-thinking, being innovative, being on the cutting edge of technology. And all the resources that we get. We just got Canva for free, which is amazing.
Yes.
Even the stock options. It's kind of cool. 5% of my commissions go towards buying company stock at a 5% discount.
You see what I mean?
And it's just, it's all these kind of different ways for agents to be able to do better. Because what I realized is if I'm able to have more resources, so let's say, from my previous brokerage, eXp, it was a better commission split. Okay. So I'm going, even if I just do the same amount of business, I'm going to make more money at eXp. And if I make a little bit more money, I can service my clients better. I can invest more into listings. I can invest that back into the business, as opposed to paying a brokerage more commission. I can put this into my own business to help service my clients.
Actually, let me tell you, I've been able to do a lot of marketing.
Yes.
With my extra money, just because I know my commission is a better structure at eXp, I've been able to allocate some amount to marketing. And I say, I'm going to allocate this amount. But I'm only able to do that because I'm getting a better commission split.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Otherwise, I wasn't able to do that in the past, because whatever came in, I need to use it up for my bills.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
But now with eXp, I'm like, oh, actually, because marketing is important as well.
It is so important.
Exactly.
It is so important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then also what I like about eXp too is the culture of understanding that social media is part of your marketing.
Yes. Yep.
Which some local brokerages don't understand that. You know what I mean? And people always are wondering, like, how do I actually market myself? But I think at eXp, we've kind of nailed it in actually understanding social media is part of marketing.
100%.
And actually people don't feel like it's something that I don't need to do. People understand it's something you really need to do.
Everybody
if you're
talks
trying to
about
market yourself.
Growing a brand. They really talk about the power of a brand.
Yeah.
And they're more focused on the agents growing a brand than promoting the brand of the brokerage, right? We, of course we have to have the eXp logo, but some brokerages, it has to be a certain size. It's, it's got to be and there's all these regulations, but eXp says, we realize it's the agents. As long as you have eXp on there, that's good. You brand it your own way.
Exactly.
Brand yourself, grow your brand. Because that's what it's going to come down to, is the power of branding, right? Of reaching an audience, putting messages out there. How can we get more exposure for our clients' properties by using our current brand? And that's a big reason that I've been doing the social media stuff, Kendi, is because I'm going, how can I grow an audience that then when I get listings, I'm able to give more exposure to my clients for those listings too. And that's just through the power of kind of putting yourself out there. And then how can I connect with more people? And it's by throwing myself out there. That's what I chose to do 4 years ago when I came to eXp. That's where I started to get doubled down on videos. I started to get very, very singular on my lead generation, going, this is the way I'm going to do lead generation.
Exactly. And, a lot of people, I think you've nailed it on doing videos and understanding how you reach your clients. But we understand that doing the videos and being on social media is not what gets you the clients. You have to do more work into actually getting the clients, but the branding and just being relevant on a day-to-day basis, because let's be honest, there's so many realtors in New Brunswick compared to the inventory that we have.
There's 1,500 agents in New Brunswick.
You see what I mean?
1,500 on the board anyway.
So you have to stand out, like in some way to 100%. Reach your ideal client market. But if you're in a brokerage where people are not doing those things, and maybe you're the only one doing it, you can feel like you're the odd one out.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the problem, right?
But
exactly.
eXp, it's like we kind of have a culture where we know, like, we do these things, it's normal, it's good, and we feel good about it.
I love seeing agents come over and see them start posting more because it's like they're more comfortable doing it.
I've made some people post more, and I'm like, you need to post more. And then it's like, hey, I actually posted. I'm like, yeah, good.
Yes. And actually, I want to talk about this too. You seem to have done an amazing job at kind of creating a group for the agents that you sponsor as well.
Yes.
Because you sponsor a handful of agents with your, actually in a relatively short amount of time being at eXp. True. You sponsor quite a bit of agents. And I think that comes down to kind of you looking to give back as well. And I've seen you guys going out and like having coffees and stuff. And it's like, that's so amazing. That's exactly what you need to do to create these little cultures within cultures. And that's exactly what we're doing here in New Brunswick with the Wolfpack. There's the global Wolfpack where we all meet on Zoom calls and then we'll meet at eXp cons and stuff. But it's like, let's recreate that here.
Exactly.
Let's recreate that culture here. Exactly. And then even if there's little groups of that, that's even better. Exactly. Because that's how you grow.
And in fact, after we're done with our talk today, I'm going to lunch with some of my people in the group. But there's something about waking up every day to know that there's that small group of people that you can actually talk to, bounce ideas with, talk about deals that worked, what didn't work. There's something about that drives you all to actually get out and do the work.
Right, because you're going, it's not just me, because you can easily get in your head when you're alone, right?
Exactly.
Going, oh, geez, and you start ruminating on one problem too long and then like it's just... having a group around you is so much better, especially of other like-minded agents who are all looking to succeed. Because maybe some days you're a little down, but if you're around people who are always up, then they're going to bring you up. And it's like, so it's the same thing. And I say it over and over, but the high tide raises all ships, and it's so true.
Yeah, and for me, like I'm an outgoing person, like I'm a social person. So the thing is, I'm not tired of like being around people or supporting people.
Yeah. I almost get energized by it. I get energized.
Yeah, me too. Right. So I'm able to like form my small groups of people that we can actually get along with and actually do work together, right?
Yeah.
But still with the understanding that we are each in our own businesses.
And that's the nice part about it.
Do you know what I
that's
mean?
The beautiful part.
Right.
Exactly.
So I hope
because other places that get what we're talking about, other places that have, or let's say other groups, normally they're teams. And a team structure comes with a certain split where there's the brokerage split, but then normally the team lead takes a certain chunk as well. No. So then you're almost paying to be in a culture like we're talking about right now. Yeah. When we don't owe each other anything, there's no extra splits or anything like that. It's literally just a whole bunch of agents that are running their own businesses, but we're doing it collaboratively.
Exactly. And by the way, that split about being in a team and additional commissions going to a team, I think it's a worst structure ever, because at the end of the day, it's only good for a brand new agent who's trying to say, hold my hand and show me how to do real estate. Yep. But that's only in the first year. Mm-hmm. But when you get to the second year, there's no realtor who's going to agree for you to take additional splits from them. Mm-hmm. And it brings bad feelings. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a good thing to actually be authentic and to be able to help each other without feeling like your commission has to go to the bottom just because somebody is giving you information that they should actually give you just for being within the same group.
It's very, very true. The splits, and I think I've had a theory. Once agents learn to make $100,000, once you kind of hit that $100,000 mark, you start going, okay, wait, how much am I paying my brokerage? Where's my income going? Where's it all going? It says here I made $100,000, but that's not on my bank account. I don't see that, right? So then you start looking around, going, well, where's the better splits? And that's why I really like eXp too, is because it's designed for agents to thrive. Like it's like this is a great brokerage for agents once they kind of get past that stage. And also, but we have agents that are new agents in our group.
Yes.
That are doing extremely well. And just by plugging in and doing the stuff that we talk about, Manraj, for example, I just had him on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. He's not even a year in yet, and he's done 7 deals in the last 6 months.
You see?
He's never been at any other brokerage. His first year in real estate.
You see?
Sammy, she's absolutely crushing it. I can't wait to get her on the podcast. Yes. Jamal, he's smart as can be, and he's got the investing background, so he just knows real estate inside and out, and knows the investing side of it inside and out. So he's done very well, and even it's so interesting with him because he does cold calling. He does well through cold calling. He doesn't even really talk about social media or like it that much.
I know. He told me about his cold calling, and I'm like, I respect you for
That's
that.
What he does. And it's so cool to see. I'm like, is it ever fascinating to see everybody kind of doing it in different ways?
Exactly.
And so it just goes to show, right? It's we have the support, we have the systems, and we have the training and the weekly calls to keep people accountable that want to do well.
And the other
you just have to plug in.
Exactly. And the other thing you said about Jamal, one thing, because I've had conversations with him too, actually talking about the aspect of understanding investing. Yeah. And he knows how to look at a property and actually know that property can be turned into something.
Right, because he's done it himself many times.
Exactly. So, and that's one thing too, we have to almost teach our clients to know that you might not find that perfect property that you were thinking in your mind, but you have to think sometimes of properties that have potential to being great once you put some work into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's another aspect too. Like I have those conversations with my clients too. Like, well, yes, it's not perfect, but maybe you need to put a little bit of money just to make it to that standard that you're looking for, but without breaking the bank.
Right.
And
a lot of first-time home buyers, I think that's a conversation that we have to have with them, is setting the expectation, because I think they get excited once the pre-approval comes in. They realize how much they qualify for, but then they go out and they start looking at the homes and they're going, oh, this isn't quite what I imagined as my home. Right?
Yes.
Nobody's imagining their first time home. They're always imagining the one they want to get to 5, 10, 15 years down the road. True. Right? When they're coming in. So it's a matter of making and helping them to realize that the first home is not going to be your last home.
This
is your step into the market.
Yes.
And And, you might be there 2 to 5 years max,
exactly.
right? If you're looking to level up. And as long as you move into that house, take care of it, you find a good product at a good location, then normally you're going to end up able to sell that down the road, and then find that house that you had in your mind, right? Yeah. But it's never normally the first one. It's kind of setting that and going, you're not going to be here forever. This isn't where you're living forever. And this is maybe 2 to 3, 5 years max.
And we have to. I like what people who have the mentality of ownership versus renting, because once you realize that you can own your own versus have to pay rent for so many years and never having to own a home, it's a concept that people actually need to understand, so that it might not be a perfect home, but you own it.
Yeah.
And you're paying towards your own mortgage versus paying towards somebody else's mortgage.
And it's where most of people's wealth is built through real estate.
I could say
and insurance.
Yeah, I could exactly. I could say that's my situation. Real estate is where I've actually been able to thrive, and it's about being able to know what properties to buy, how you can invest in real estate. And to be honest with you, like my culture, where we come from, I come from Kenya, East Africa. African culture, they don't have the mortgage structure.
Okay.
People own. So that's why you see, like, most of the immigrants coming here, they are quick to want to buy a house because they don't believe that I have to own my home.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
So then what's the structure in Kenya? People
just build, and you just build your house, you own your home. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
So we don't have this living in homes that don't belong to you, that you're renting. The home ownership is like, even cars, when people buy cars, they're not buying on loans. They're actually saving money and buying the car.
Right.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So there's a concept of like home ownership that immigrants understand when they come into North America, that they actually know that they need to save up quickly and save money to buy a house.
Absolutely.
Do you know?
And some of the most successful people I know have come here as immigrants as well. I'm thinking of a friend of mine, Seth. He came from Tunisia, and I remember when he first. I don't know if I should be talking about this on the podcast, but no. So I remember when he first. No, I think this is fine. I think it's fine. So so when he first came here, him and I were working together, and he was looking at a couple properties, but at that time, the bank wasn't qualifying him because he was running a business, but he needed a couple other things. But since he's done so well, he's bought in from 5 years. He came and wasn't able to do what he wanted, and now has since in 5 years achieved so much, has one of the best pizza spots uptown St. John, has a very successful business, and it's just like seeing people like that come in and do so well is it's just like, there's no excuses to me after you see someone do that. Yeah. Because it's like that guy came, people come with all odds stacked against them. Not knowing anybody, and not having any connections. They come and they start from scratch, and they work and they work and they work until they get what they want.
Exactly. And that's why when you talk about immigration, we have to look at quality immigration, meaning that how are people contributing to the society when they come versus people coming in trying to take away from the system. Do you know what I mean? So it has to be quality immigration, whereby people actually come and build the community and contribute towards the growth 100%. Of the community 100%. Versus people coming in and taking all the resources from the government
100%,
and then almost becomes like the government is the one that has to support all the people coming in, and then that's how you really you kind of really destroy the system because it can't support. But most immigrants coming in are coming to build.
Yes. Yep. Yep. They're coming with that work ethic already understood, and it's probably because they've seen their parents working every single day of their life, not complaining about it, doing it, and then they come here and they realize the opportunity that maybe their parents didn't have. So it's like they're really coming in to kind of not even prove something, but it's maybe to prove something. It's going, hey, look, there's a huge opportunity, and I'm not going to waver this, because it's like they're almost more appreciative for it. Where if we're born here, we're just going. Some people feel like it should be given to them. Some people feel like success should just be handed over.
You see,
right? And it's like that's the wrong mentality to have, because nobody gives you anything in life. Unfortunately,
exactly.
you need to give. You need to find ways to give, and then when you start to find ways to provide value, like you said, to build and help the community, whether it's literally coming in a building, or whether it's coming in and doing events, or just being a positive contribution, right?
Exactly.
Those are all the ways that you will help. You'll help yourself find success.
Exactly. You know what I really want to see happen, like in our community, like St. John, New Brunswick, really, I would like to see process whereby we actually can build more homes.
Yeah.
To be able to accommodate the number of people like coming in.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like we have a shortage of the builds.
Oh, we definitely do.
And
we have for like 5 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have the immigrants and the people looking to buy and even help build in the community, but we really need to actually be intentional about building, because I don't know if you've realized this, but since the immigration has gone down and we don't have too much of the immigration happening, it's reduced our sales as well in real estate. I don't know whether you've noticed that. But it hasn't dropped the prices. Because even if people talk about, the prices are going up because of immigration or people coming here, but the prices have not gone down. But at the same time, we don't have the sales that were there because most of the people who came in, maybe within a year or so, especially in New Brunswick, there was quality immigration whereby people were able to purchase a home or build a home, you know what I mean? But obviously not overlooking the fact that the system was kind of strained in terms of accommodating the population.
Oh, yeah. I think the entire country was strained for quite a while, too, right?
Yeah.
And then over the last year, we've seen different markets have shifts. Like over in BC, I believe you're seeing the average house price almost drop significantly from the pandemic heights.
Toronto condos.
In Toronto, right? So there's certain products that aren't selling like they were before. But us here in New Brunswick, I find we're in a unique spot because we have some of the fairest price, cheapest real estate in all of Canada, right?
True.
So so when it comes to the average house price, we have some of the lowest average house prices per province.
True.
So that, I think, has helped us maintain. Well, there's been a shifting in the Canadian market. In New Brunswick, we haven't really seen prices go back all that much. No. But we are seeing so we've been in a strong seller's market for the last 5 years, and we're seeing it start to get more towards a balance. Like in Moncton, they're already in the middle of a balanced market in Moncton.
True.
And here in St. John, we're just getting we're still in a seller's, but we're getting closer to the balanced market.
True.
And so that's an interesting shift to see. So I think the demand is slowing down slightly, but just exactly like you're saying, the supply and demand is still an issue because, like I said before we get on the podcast, we had clients put an offer in. There was 5 offers on the property. There's 5 offers. So there's still the multiples happening for the right properties, for people that are still pricing it right with the right strategy.
Exactly.
I think over the next 6 months and moving forward, it's going to be very important to have an even stronger marketing strategy and an even stronger pricing strategy too. We can't be as, before. You could list something for, almost during the pandemic. It seemed like prices didn't even make sense. It was just people throwing prices, and everybody was jumping on them more or less.
I know, right?
But now we're getting back to a point where we're going, okay, we actually have to make sure that we price this properly now.
Exactly.
Right?
You cannot underprice or overprice. You almost have to be exactly where you want to be.
Right. You gotta be. Yes. You have to be much closer. Exactly.
True. And
it's fascinating. So I do watch because I actually started creating charts for the market too. So so I kind of study the charts in the market, and every December and January, you always see the lows for the sales activity. We're always hitting the lowest sales activity this time of year. But then it ramps back up, and normally like June, July, and even sometimes October has seen the most sales. So, and that's during a seller's market. And the listings correlate very much. So the listings, like the active listings, go very hand in hand with the active sales because we're almost selling all the inventory, right? We're almost selling all the inventory. So it'll be interesting to see. What do you think is going to happen this spring and summer? Do you think we're going to be back into a strong seller's market?
I think the competition is going to be there because we still don't have inventory.
Yep, I think so too.
The multiple offer situation is going to be back and in double the amount that we have right now.
I think coming into the spring.
I think we're going to repeat exactly what happened last year. We're going to be in the same position, and basically but the prices for me, I feel like the prices for homes are going to stay where they are.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of got to the cap. I don't think
because So something else that's really fascinating is if you look at the stats from, let's say 2009 to 2022, or sorry, 2009 to 2020. That's like 10 years there, right? For about 10 years in St. John, the market did not really do anything. No. It was just consolidating. The average house price would go up a little bit in the summer and it would dip down in the winter. And it just did that for like 10 years.
Houses stayed in the market for 1 year or 2 years.
Oh, yes. So when I first got my real estate license so I got licensed in December 2018. So 2019 was my first year as a real estate agent. And during that time, I remember doing like 17 open houses for one property. Because it was like every single weekend, it was like 6 months. But I mean, that was the industry standard.
I know.
That wasn't even, like, it was, so when I first got in, it was in my mind, I thought that I was like, it's almost assumed that I can negotiate $20,000 off any property on the market.
Yeah. Yes.
It's almost assumed that we can just slash, and like I would almost tell my clients that, like, oh yeah, we'll get them down 10 or 20,000.
I know.
Because there was nobody else interested.
Exactly. And then do you get surprised right now when if our house is on the market for like 2 weeks and then people are asking,
what's wrong?
Why have you been on the market for too long?
Yeah, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? There's got to be a major problem. Did someone die here?
But when you check 10 years ago, the house stayed on the market for 1 year.
Yeah.
And that was
Nobody asked what was wrong with it. Nobody asked what was wrong. It's so fascinating. And that's a reason that I like real estate is it's changing and you do have to stay current with it. Yeah. And then, so there's always something to talk about as well, right? There's always, people ask me, they go, how's the market? And my favorite answer to that question is, are you looking to buy or sell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's different depending on,
exactly.
A lot of agents will go, oh, the market's great, because it's like they want to do business. But it's like, well, let's have a more strategic conversation. Are you looking to buy or sell? And then now you got them thinking of, well, why did I ask? Well, I'm actually curious about maybe buying down the road. And now you're having a real conversation that can lead to a lead.
Exactly.
As opposed to just saying, oh, the market's great. How can I help you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right?
And they're like, oh, okay. No, I was just wondering. But then if you say, well, are you looking to buy or sell? They're like, well, actually, we were thinking of selling here in the next, okay. Oh, so selling right now. And then you explain, it's a seller's market, low inventory, good time.
Yeah.
But, where are you at? It might be better maybe to wait till the spring because it might be even a little bit more lucrative then. And it's, just having these more strategic conversations with people.
Just to ask you a question too, because I'm curious, do you think that we are going to have people from other provinces moving out here like the spring and the summer as before? Or what do you think?
Going to see some. I'm still getting messages from clients outside of New Brunswick that are talking about moving here. I think just because over the last few years, it's put New Brunswick on the map. Like 5 years ago, everybody was leaving New Brunswick. Prior to 2020, everybody was leaving the province. Now, all of a sudden, everybody wants to come here. And I think it's kind of put a spotlight on us. I think that real estate is it was common for people to just look in their area. I don't think many people thought of moving provinces prior to 2020.
True.
And I don't think as many people moved interprovincially that are currently doing it now, especially where people can work from home.
Yes.
That's changed the entire economy, where some people can have jobs and still work for their company in Ontario, but then live wherever they would like.
Yeah.
And then at that point, they're going, well, where has the better lifestyle? And I know that New Brunswick's been very big for its lifestyle the last 5 years. So I think we're still going to see people, but I don't think it'll be as many as we had during, because there was that kind of big emotional wave of people almost looking to escape situations during 2020 to 2025. But now I think that you're still going to see more than 2020, but not as much as kind of the last 5 years.
True. I agree with that. And I think mostly the determining factor, obviously, is work. If people are moving out here and they know that they can work in certain fields, whether it's like healthcare or things like that, then it's quicker for them to make the decision to move.
Yeah.
But when it comes to thinking about other jobs that they may not have here, that they're doing wherever they are, then obviously that stops them from making the decision to move. Even if they want to move, the job is a factor.
100%.
Right?
100%. Yeah. And actually, you know what? I want to make a video on that soon, Kendi, because it's been a while since I really took a deep dive into the job market in St. John.
Yeah.
But I think we have more going on now than 5 years ago, you know, especially with the port, like the port growing at the rate that it is.
True.
There's Irving. Just seems to be a lot kind of more. I'm hoping there's more opportunities. So I should do a video about this. I need to do a deep dive.
I think
it's a very complex topic. It's a very complex topic.
Opportunities are there, but I think what we really need to work hard at too is being able to retain those people who are coming here and looking to settle here. Because you have situations whereby whether it's doctors or nurses coming in here, then they start here and then they start thinking of moving to other places.
Yes.
But I think there has to be a system to actually make sure that these people who are needed in this community actually are paid well, they have the resources, and they have whatever it takes for them to be retained in New Brunswick, instead of having that come in, move, then bring more people, and then they move. But even when they're moving to the other provinces, though, they don't actually realize, like if you go to a place like Ontario, if you go to Toronto, even if you're going to make more money, your cost of living is also as high.
Right.
So sometimes people need to understand that just because you're going to get paid maybe $20,000 more a year in another province,
what's a
mortgage going to be? What are your expenses going to be over there?
Right.
What about lifestyle, like the commotion, traffic, schools and all that? You have to kind of think about all those things.
It's very true.
But as a newcomer, sometimes we don't think about those things because you're kind of thinking, I want to go to the city that has lots of life.
And that's actually an interesting point of you saying how the people coming here are kind of like moving. And I think there's also some people that seen New Brunswick and was like, I want that East Coast lifestyle, but maybe they didn't understand certain regions of New Brunswick. So maybe they came and they picked a spot in a certain area in St. John, but they're going, oh, I actually want to maybe live a little bit more out in the country now.
Yeah.
Now that I've been here for 2 to 3 years and I'm understanding the different neighborhoods. So I think you're going to see a lot of people that bought during the pandemic probably look at relocating to somewhere that now that they understand the area better, somewhere that might suit them a little bit better as well.
True. And like for me, I love it here. Like I would never trade it for like going back to Toronto. Like even when I visit Toronto and I am like, first I can't stand the smell of just feeling like pollution is just like, you can tell the quality of air is different. You know what I mean? The traffic catches me. I can't do that life anymore. I know I did it, but I love it here because I want to wake up to just a peaceful, slow traffic and just like, kind of like just, there's something about the lifestyle here that just brings so much peace for me.
Absolutely.
But I think also it's what stage you are in your life.
Yes.
I think it also depends, because if I tell my kids, staying here at their age, are like, no, I want to go to
the big city. They want
city.
The flashing lights. They want the noise. They want the excitement. And I like that every once in a while, but I like popping in. That's not a stay for me. Those are places I want to stay. Those are quick visits. It's like if I go to Toronto, maybe spend a few days for a conference or something, you get that excitement. And then I'll come back here and I'm like energized. Because it's like you bring this kind of big city energy with you and everybody's kind of looking at you going like, dude, what's going on?
I know.
I'm like, I'm just fired up. I was in Miami for a week, man. friggin', I'm excited about life. I just got so much vitamin D. Right? And like, you know, and even when I came back from Vegas, I was excited and amped up, and I'm going, but I'm also going to these conferences and I'm listening to these agents talk about all the success they've had. And then I bring that stuff back to our little community here,
By the
right?
way, and it's true, because let me tell you something, even coming from back home where I grew up in a small town, we looked forward to going to the biggest city.
Yeah.
Because we're just like, the biggest city is where things are happening. And it's true. When you go to the biggest city, there's things you get and values and lessons and mind changes that you actually...
The perspective changes. Yes.
So it's good to actually be in those environments because they develop you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
You know what makes me sad is the people that have never left New Brunswick. So growing up, I heard a lot of people always talk about, you know, St. John as being just kind of a dingy city. Yeah. You know, the armpit of Canada, and just like, and then I'm going, oh, really? So then I started to travel in my early 20s. Yeah. I went and lived in Calgary for a little while. And then I'm going, okay, Calgary was really cool, exciting. There's like Lambos and stuff driving around. You see a lot more money down there. Yeah. But then I'm going, all right, you know, I have the day off. I'd like to go to the beach. Yeah. Oh, there is no beach. Yeah. I'm going, I can't, you know, there's a river. There's a Bow River. Yeah. I can go climb a mountain. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. But I'm going... oh, geez, you know, I kind of want to go like for a walk in like a nature trail. There's not much of that. There's not, you know, there's no beaches. So that I'm going, there's certain things about St. John that I took for granted. And then you need to leave the environment to then appreciate all the things and all the beauty that we have here. True. And I've really learned to appreciate St. John and New Brunswick for what it is by traveling so much.
True.
The more that I travel, the more I realize how much I do love our little province.
Exactly. Even when I've driven, like I never drove as far as going to like even Grand Bay, West. Then you drive in all these roads and then you're just seeing such beautiful sceneries.
Right,
and you're like,
the water.
And you're like, oh, this is good. You know,
right. And you're kind of driving going like, this is almost relaxing me, right? It's just, this scenery is nice.
I love it.
And I think those perspective changes are important for people. So anybody that's like local here, like I encourage you to like leave St. John for a little while, go live somewhere else for a bit if you can, or even just traveling, right? It just gives you such great perspective.
It does. It does.
Kendi, this has been an amazing conversation.
I know, right?
It's been amazing. I think this is probably a good place to land the plane. Did you want to have any statements before we finish up?
I just have to say thank you for inviting me and hosting me.
Thank you for coming.
Looking forward to doing more together.
Absolutely.
I definitely enjoy working around you. You know, you're like the energy for our eXp group.
That's awesome.
And you know, like when you said about like being in the military, because you were in the military, the thing is you organize us in a way that, you know, the way where you said about being a team and like teamwork, like let's do things as a team. It's not about being an individual. And I think that skill that you learned in the military, you've been able to actually apply it so well within our group and kind of like to keep it together. You're like the glue that keeps things together. You know what I mean? So
I like it though.
I appreciate you.
And it does energize me. And I think just because I know how I felt before in real estate, I know how I felt when I was at my previous brokerage, and I'm like, I don't want anybody to feel that. It's because this can be a tough industry, and like you said, it can be lonely at times.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't have to be.
Yes.
And it can be fun, and it can be energizing. Yes. And the way that we're doing it is, and I want to keep passing that, because every time we get new people coming in and they're going, oh, this is infectious. And it's like, there's something to this, right? There's something to this. And that's why we're having the momentum. And I'm so excited for the growth that we're going to have this year. I feel like this year's going to be a big year.
Me too. I do actually feel that way too. Yeah. So let's do it. Let's work hard.
Awesome. You know? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. And if you're watching right now at this point at the end, most people don't watch at the end, but if you are, thank you so much. And stick around for the next podcast episode. Bye-bye.